What's good, everybody? It's your boy Fares Muthana. Welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. Today, we're doing a special edition of the show. It is our post-game analysis. The New York Giants just played their last preseason game against I believe, the New England Patriots. It was a good game overall. There were some good aspects to the game. A lot of the starters didn't play because it is the last preseason game. A lot of starters didn't play, period, in this preseason. That's become a common occurrence over the league. So it is what it is. So we didn't really get to see certain people. Some people were being, held out due to injury here and there. So there's that. But overall, it was a good game. What up, Suge? How you doing? We blew them out 42-10. None of their starters played. You kept seeing the sideline of the Patriots. Trayvon Henderson was on the bench. Will Campbell didn't play, their rookie starting left tackle, as well as their possible future running back one. Drake May didn't play. No one really played at all. So it was just about who wants a spot on the 53-man rosters for each team. And started off, it was Jaxon Dart right away. He started the game, which is good because, for the past 2 weeks, we had Russell Wilson for the first drive against Buffalo, then the first quarter against the Jets, and then now it was basically the Jaxon Dart show. And he was moving and grooving. He was commanding the offense. It was tremendous to see. Multiple what I liked about Jaxon Dart was, in the modern day NFL, you wish to have a perfect pocket. You wish to have a perfect pocket. But sometimes that's not possible. So you have to move your feet. You have to go up, extend the pocket, climb to the pocket, move left to right, side to side. Use your feet to create some space to find people. And that's what Jaxon Dart did a lot today, especially on his first pass to Gunnar Olszewski. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I probably aren't. But, shout out to my boy Gunny O. Great. He also moved. He sees his quarterback come up to the pocket. He keeps fading left. A lot of receivers don't do that. So he kept it. He got it. Then he got the big long run. There was a flag on the play. I got scared. But it was offsides. It was false offsides on the defense, so it was pretty nice to see. But guys, I know you see me right here by myself, but today I have a special guest joining me. Today, he says he's not a content creator, so I'll take him at his word, all right? I don't believe him, but, it's just what he says. Let's see today, brand new to the show. Let's see if he's a good friend or a better rival. It is none other than Sal. Sal, how are you, my man?
How's it going, Fares? Good to see
I'm
you, my
good,
man.
man. I'm good. We did watch the game. Initially, what were your initial thoughts? Because, a lot of starters didn't play. So it's just kind of backups, the third stringers just fighting for their life and fighting for their jobs. First drive, Jaxon Dart. Were you as impressed as I was with his feet, coming up, climbing into the pocket? Because, this is the NFL, perfect pockets. Yeah, they exist on occasion, but they don't exist all the time. And you have to move your feet to create some space to hit some good passing lanes like he did on Gunner. What were your thoughts on Jaxon Dart today?
No, I loved it. I mean, we were, Monty and I, when we reviewed Dart last year,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't as high as maybe a couple other people might have been, but we saw what we thought was a starting quarterback with coaching, and our concerns were things like his footwork
Mm-hmm.
in college. I remember I went back and listened to our pod, and I think we both commented that he has happy feet, a tendency to have his footwork unravel, and he gets a little bit sloppy with his mechanics. I've definitely paid attention to it, and it feels like with Dable's coaching, Kafka, whatever it may be, that has improved pretty quickly at the NFL
Mm-hmm.
level. And I'm seeing really smooth footwork from this kid. Obviously, he's still a work in progress, but I agree with you. Like, good footwork, good timing, good cadence. And he just looked, I mean, more than anything, he looks like he's not too. It looks like the moment is not too big for him on the NFL stage, which is really important to see. He's in command out there. He commands the huddle. I don't know if you caught it, but I believe what I heard from some people is that the mic went down from the side.
Uh,
Were you aware of this?
no, I didn't. I didn't hear about that. No.
Yes, apparently, how the coach's mic is connected to the
Yes.
QB's headset for
Mhm.
until about I think about 15 seconds before the snap. Apparently, for the first few plays, the mic was down, so Dart was calling in the plays himself and running the huddle without any coaching
Oh,
input, and
that's
he was cooking.
yeah, it was
He was
good.
in command and he was calling the protections and making plays, and you saw him running around like directing traffic and just making things out of nothing. It was very impressive,
Hmm.
really impressive stuff. Good ball placement, just the future looks good with the
Yeah.
combination of whatever Dable is doing with Dart. I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, because I believe on funny enough, it was to Greg Dulcich again. I think it was either in the last game or the first game where he has hit him before he's like broken free, like he anticipated the break. Funny, right? QB
Yep.
anticipation.
Hmm.
Something, that it's common, something, I didn't see in 6 years from, who. I hope you enjoy him, Indianapolis. That's good for you. But yeah, so seeing that kind of said, because I like, he was right at the top of the route. He's about to break. Ball was already out. He frees down the line, touchdown right away because he knew it was coming. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna be real with you. I wasn't that high on him either because I kept looking at that old Miss team, and I'm like, he's have a lot of talent. He did play well in his only year at USC. I like him, but how are you guys losing to Kentucky and Florida? In must have games. By the Florida game was a must have game. Like you win this, you're in the college football playoff, and they didn't win it. And I'm like, oh, I don't really, you know, some about him's off. But then I also, Brian Daboll, basically Brian Daboll's his thing in the NFL is I created Josh Allen. That's what he is. He's like, I'm the guy who created Josh Allen. I don't know how as much credit you can give him. Probably give him some, but that's where he hangs out. And we're seeing how it goes. Any other positional battles that you were watching today, like
Yeah.
watching running back and tight end? Were you also watching them as well, or were you like focusing on another position on the field?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, I put out a tweet about it, and I was just actually talking to Monty about some of this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, the things I was looking for in my tweet, I'm just going to refer back to it. So, I wanted to see if Banks and Flott both played today to see who would emerge as true CB2. I don't think Banks played because of injury.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
Flood out there. Yeah.
But Flott played well. I mean, I don't know if you watched him, but I mean, he made another play on the ball, another PBU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really solid, staying on the hip pocket of a lot of guys. And I mean, he just looks good out there. He looks very
Yes,
comfortable in the zone scheme. At this point, to me, there seems to be a little bit of a gap between Flott and Banks. In terms of Flott basically leading a little bit here as a reliable corner,
I agree.
not the athletic upside, obviously, of
I agree.
Banks, but just more reliable. And I think in this zone scheme you want someone you can trust back there who's going to turn his head and make a play on the football because that's kind of
Mhm.
what the job is here. It's not the Wink Martindale style of I need a supreme athlete to run with everybody. It's just a different system. So I think I was looking for that, and I think Banks honestly, I think Flott is in the lead here. So that's how I felt, and I think he just solidified that for me.
Mhm.
Um, I was looking at one of the guys I've been trying to talk about a little bit on my timeline is Trace Ford, the UDFA edge rusher from
Of
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the kid, he was really off the radar of everybody because he was a rotational edge rusher. I went back to my friend Nunu, who's a big Oklahoma fan, and I asked her, like, tell me about this kid because why was he off everybody's radar when I'm watching him the first few games and whatever I see in camp, he looks really good out there.
You see him
Um,
on the tape during the
he shows
game
up.
right away.
Absolutely shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it turns out that, Oklahoma was just using him as a rotational pass rusher. So it kind of diluted his production and numbers. So that's kind of why he fell off.
Hmm.
But I mean, he played well again. He had a couple of run stops playing the edge. He gets a push, he gets a speed to power. He's not a very big guy, but he's strong. And I like him. I think I personally would make a play for him to get one of those final roster spots because I think, you can never have enough of these pass rushers, right? Like fresh
Nope.
bodies off the
Nope.
edge,
Yeah. Absolutely.
rotate. So I feel like he's somebody that I would give a shot to. I was looking for Darius Alexander, a guy I really like coming into the draft. He's had a quiet camp to see what kind of impact he would have. I mean,
You got to play.
he had a run
Yeah.
stop. Again, he's facing a lot of double teams. With Alexander, I would say the grade is very incomplete. And the reason I say that is they bring him in on second team and he's not playing next to Dex. And no, he's not shining tremendously, but He's a guy that I think when you put him next to Dexter Lawrence has the potential to have a lot more impact than other guys
I
when he's
agree.
not facing doubles. So he is somebody that obviously he'll make the team. The question is how they'll use him. Um, but I mean, I didn't see anything that bothered me. If nothing else, you see a guy who has enough juice that you think Andre Patterson will get him right and get him productive for us. So I'm not too worried about him.
I'm with you,
Jalen
man. I'm with you on that one. What's up?
Jalen Hyatt was another guy I was
Yes.
really looking
Yes.
forward to. And I
Yes.
mean, yes, he had the touchdown, and that's all Jameis, and they were
Mm-hmm.
trying to target him. But man, the two drops early,
Pretty bad.
yeah.
It was bad.
I mean, look, he's going to make the team because we don't have wide receivers, which is a whole other issue we got to talk about. Because I
Mm-hmm.
personally am in the camp of like we got to go get ourselves a wide receiver, like
Mm-hmm.
a professional wide receiver, a veteran, somebody to add to this room. But if we don't, I mean, Hyatt's going to make the team, but man, I'm not. I would look to move this guy. I'm kind of done with him. I don't know how you
Mm-hmm.
feel.
No, it's like here's my thing. When I do the main show with my co-host, I tell him like he had the excuse for 2 years where my skill set is not being utilized because I'm a deep threat burner. That's what I was doing at Tennessee. But our quarterback doesn't throw more than 20 yards. He had that excuse. You don't have that excuse anymore. Russell Wilson, he gonna throw it deep. Jaxon Dart will throw it at you. Jameis Winston showed you today why Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. The deep shot and then that horrible deep shot interception he threw. Like I was like, I got the full Jameis experience right there. I wish I'd never see it again. I don't know how Tampa survived 5 years of this, but they were rewarded with Tom Brady afterwards. But yeah, he has no excuse. And you drop two balls, it hits your shoulder, then it hits your hands. Hit your shoulder, you can be like, I overran the play. He underthrew me. You can have, you have your built-in excuse. But the other one, that was all on you. Hit your hands. My biggest problem with this, I don't know if you're seeing this. He's always trying to draw contact.
Yeah,
He's always
he
trying to
looks
draw
like
PI. And it's
he's
like,
more
no,
interested in
just
getting a
run.
penalty than getting the football.
Yeah, just run and go catch.
Yeah,
Go run
I
and catch the
agree.
ball. Your job is you're a wide receiver, not a PI creator. Like receive. And he's not. He doesn't want to receive. He's always hitting somebody. He's always extending his arm, which then reduces his speed because you're creating more drag as you run. Just
Yeah,
run, just run. He hasn't figured that out yet.
even
Just
the
run
first
and
drop.
catch.
Even the first drop, and I agree that maybe that ball was a tiny bit underthrown. It was
Yeah,
not anything egregious. I mean, I think
it
that's a
wasn't agree.
relative,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pretty normal NFL quarterback throw to a receiver, just trying to get him in a one-on-one matchup. And in
Mm-hmm,
those situations, it's the receiver's job to change speeds and go up and compete for the football,
mm-hmm,
right? And instead of like, changing speeds to go up to get the football, he kind of slowed down to get contact and then let the ball hit him in the shoulder, which was kind of wild. I was like, you're in the DB's not looking, you're in position for the football, you're you're bigger than him, just jump up and get the ball,
mm-hmm,
right? Like get yourself in position to get your hands up in the air and go grab that football. And if you draw a PI trying to catch the football that way and the ball comes out of your hand, that's one thing. But like just standing there and letting it bounce off your shoulder is wild to me. I mean, that was really bad and it was tough to watch. The second drop
absolutely.
was
I'm
it
with you.
was just awful.
Egregious.
I mean,
It was
I mean
bad.
it was I mean Dart dropped that in the bucket.
Absolutely.
And again, he didn't get his hands up to catch the football. He tried to he tried to bucket catch that thing.
Mm-hmm.
He could have put his arms up earlier and caught that thing, and which is what you want your receivers to do, right? Get your hands
Yes.
up and grab that ball in the air.
Catch it in the first window.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah, because
like,
I remember. Yeah.
but even then, like the ball fell into his hands, and he still dropped it, and it wasn't because it was knocked out of his hand. He just dropped it. So I don't know, man. This guy is just I don't. He's just not reliable, you know. So he's gonna make the team, like it's
Mhm.
hard to see him not
Out
making
of
the team with
necessity.
the depth because
Yeah.
they don't have the depth there. But
Yeah.
that's more an indictment on the depth of the roster than something good about him. And again, I'm personally looking for somebody else to add to this room. And if I can get one more professional receiver in here that can play on the outside a little bit, I'm done with Hyatt. He's out of here in my mind.
You still on the pro Bo Collins train? Like a lot of people are on that. You like him?
I,
It's very
I
clear that he's a phenomenal blocking wide receiver. He has some juice, but something's missing there.
Yeah, he's just not a very good receiver. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's the bottom line. I think he's a good blocker. I mean, you have to ask yourself, does he give you anything more than Lil Jordan Humphrey, if that's the
Mhm.
prototype we're looking for,
I
right?
don't think he does. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
So,
Yeah.
what's up, Monty? Monty's
Hey,
joined the
yeah, we have
chat.
a couple people in the chat.
Uh,
Shout out to one of our hosts, Adelia. Shout out to our homie Leo. That's my co-host's dad. My boy Jay, the Carolina Panthers played today. Jay's a Panthers fan. Shout out to my dog Seti. What's up, Seti? How you been, man? Long time no see, which was literally last week. But he was right. He said he's with us, trying to drive PI calls. Cutting one of the tight ends will be a tough call. That's what I wanna switch
Yeah,
over.
we'll get to that for
So,
sure.
for the tight
Yeah.
ends, it's a lot, And then shout out to the homie Monty. Tried to get Monty on the show with you, but unfortunately, Monty had to do other things. He's a good person. How he's looking after people's stuff. So shout him to that. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's just like I don't know why they haven't figured it out. Like you got little Jordan Humphrey, you got Bo Collins, you have Montrell Washington, you have Juice Wells, who has the connection with Jackson Dart. Um,
Yeah, none of those guys are making the team. I
yeah.
think, I think Juice Wells is a good guy to get to stash on your practice squad, and
Okay.
I think he'll stick. Some of those other guys might make the practice squad. I don't think Bo Collins makes the team. I don't think he's done enough. Maybe, I guess he's competing for that last spot. But let's assume we keep six receivers.
Mhm.
Let's assume we're not getting anybody else, which I'm not so sure is the case. But let's just assume that for a second. You got your three starters in Malik, Wandell, and Slayton. Hyatt is your four. Uh, Either Smith, Marset, or Olszewski are going to be on the team as returners and slot
I think
receivers.
both are staying.
If both stay, that's your six,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. And then like nobody else is making it. It's a good point, right? Maybe you want them both because they both are better returners and special teamers than these other dudes, and
And
they can.
Gunner showed you some stuff in the
He,
passing game.
he's got a little something to offer as a
Yeah.
slot receiver, So I'm okay with that if that's what they decide to do.
Mhm.
It's just not the most optimal receiving room, and again, you want to probably try to add a more reliable veteran, or
Mhm.
personally, I think there's some young players out there that are not going to make their teams, guys who were drafted this year or last year, guys who are talented but are in deep rooms, who I would take a swing at. And I think we'll see this play out over the next few days. But I'll just throw some names out there.
I was about to ask.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, so Ricky White was a guy I was very high
Ah,
on from
the
UNLV.
UNLV. Yes.
Yeah, and he's on that Seattle team, and he's buried on that depth chart. They have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good receivers out there, so I'm not so sure Ricky White's going to make it. If he does, he's kind of a back end of the roster guy, but
Mm-hmm.
that's one I'm looking to see if he can crack the Seattle squad as a special teamer, maybe. But I mean, he had just so people know, he's a very smooth wide receiver, kind of catches everything his way. He's one of these guys who doesn't wow you with athletic, explosive traits, but his routes are just really good, smooth, perfect, good timing, finds a soft spot in zone, catches everything, and highly productive. Like
Yes.
continuously, year after year, very productive as a receiver. And he had four block punts on special teams in college. So this is like a useful player. So I would look for him because he'd immediately be a special team impact player. And I think you can
Yes.
bring him into the passing game as a young player. Another guy who may not make his team is Will Shepard, the receiver out of Colorado. He's on that Green Bay team, and he's again buried on the depth
That's where
chart.
he went. Okay.
Mhm.
That's where
Yeah,
he went. All right.
and look, Green Bay has a lot of guys who may not make the team. It'd be interesting to see who might shake loose either in a trade or through a cut. But Shepard's a guy that is a big receiver. I think he's about 6'3", good
Yes.
speed guy down the
Yes.
sideline. Wouldn't
Mhm.
be a bad player. Um,
Yeah, because I think out of
the,
Green Bay there was a reporter out there. I know. Shout out to my Green Bay Packers homie fan Pat. He shared this tweet where someone said that Romeo Dubs was on the chopping block, and I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my
yeah, I
entire
don't believe
life.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I don't. Yeah, because I was like, this can't be true. This can't be true because he's literally your best receiver. Because Christian
yeah,
Watson, boom or bust play, he can get you 150 on 3 catches, but the problem is he's not on the field a lot.
he's
He
always
gets you
hurt.
exactly.
Yeah,
And then you had Jadon Reed, who's they like him in the slot. So Romeo Dubs has been your best player since you drafted him.
yeah. I
You
think
know,
Dontavian Wicks is a guy if you're looking for
yeah,
somebody that you might be able to
that's their
shake loose.
fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he might be somebody they'd be willing to part with in a trade.
yeah.
Um, But again, like Shepard probably won't make the team, so that's a guy to look at. Another guy was he was a player. I think he was a UDFA last year. He might have been drafted. I can't remember. But Raheem Jarrett out of Maryland went to
Ah,
real.
UDFA. Yes, he was.
Yeah, so he was a really good receiver at Maryland, and I liked him. He's an upside guy, bigger target, pretty good route runner, good hands. Just never got a chance to be fully productive in Maryland. Ends up on Tampa, and again, he's buried behind just an all-star studded lineup at wide receiver. So
Evans,
he's probably not
Godwin.
going to make that team. So those are just three young guys that I'd be looking at. There's others, you can just scour every scouting front. I think I had
Yeah,
a tweet about it like a week ago or
McMillan
so.
got hurt in Tampa, so Raheem may have a shot to may have shot to make the team if
Yeah,
McMillan's
I don't
injury.
know because like I mean if you look at the Bucks depth chart, right? I'm gonna scroll through it real quick. Even with McMillan hurt, I mean he's pretty far down. They still have Mike Evans,
Yes.
obviously. Chris Godwin is
Yep.
hurt, but he'll play. You
Yeah.
have Tez Johnson, who they just drafted. They just
That's
drafted
true.
Emeka Egbuka. They
Oh,
have
yep.
Ryan Miller. They have
Oh, Ryan
Dennis
Miller. Yes.
Houston. They have Trey Palmer. They have Shep. And then you go further, and they have Raheem Jarrett. Shout out Garrett Green, West Virginia product.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Cameron
He's yeah.
Johnson,
Yeah. He's not
the
making it.
former the
Yeah.
former
No.
quarterback. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard
Hard.
to see him get on the team. So he's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
guy that I
No.
would consider.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I can go through the list. We can do all night, but I'm just saying there are going to be players elsewhere that I would look to see if I'd add talent. But really, I think they should be
Jay.
looking.
No offense. No, ain't no receiver on the Carolina Panthers that I want. Absolutely none of except T Mac. Everyone else you can keep. All right. Jimmy Horn is a little too. He's Jimmy Horn is Wandale Robinson. Like what are we doing here? They're the same size. They're literally the same size. And Wandale Robinson has a growing anti Rondell Robinson group amongst Giants fans. And Xavier Legette can't catch a ball to he can't Xavier Legette
He's a
can't catch
starter
a
for them.
that's
Yeah.
that's the problem. He can't catch a cold if you ran butt naked in the middle of winter in Minnesota. All right, that's how badly he can't catch the ball, and he's a
So
wide receiver.
I
You know
think
what I
with the
mean?
Panther, I think the Panthers might consider trading Adam Thielen. There's rumors that the Vikings
Yes.
want him back,
Yeah, yeah, I
and
heard about
I can
that.
see them saying, "Give us like a fifth for Thielen or something like that, and we'll take and then they'll just slide Jimmy Horn or somebody else up in that spot." But yeah, I don't see that being a room, and we could do
Yeah.
this for but I'm just saying like there are guys out there we can go after if we don't. There's Monty saying sign Garrett Green, West Virginia great, but
Tell me, wait, did
The
he?
Julian Edelman of West Virginia.
Okay,
Um,
so he's switching. He switched positions.
he was their quarterback,
Yes.
and then he became a slot receiver
All
because
right.
he's 5'10".
He's David
Um,
Stills. He's David Stills, basically. That's what David Stills
he's
did.
short David Sills,
Yeah,
short
he's short
shifty
David
David
Stills.
Sills.
Oh
He
my
actually
god.
tested really well. If he did a good job, but in any case, like there are guys out there to get that are professional receivers. There are guys like this. I just don't love our receiver room, man, and I just
Nah.
feel like I love our team. I don't want to don't get it twisted. I'm very bullish
Oh,
on this
there's.
team,
Oh yeah.
but I think we could use a receiver.
Yeah. So let's go to the other type of receivers. We have the tight end group. It's very stacked in a sense. We really see the stack. So we got Greg Dulcich. Is it Dulcich? I don't know.
Dulcich.
Dulcich. There's Greg Dulcich. We have Chris Manhertz. We really didn't see a lot of him during preseason because I think he was nursing an injury, and then he's probably there like we don't need to see you, Chris. You've been in the league for like 11 years. We know what the hell you want. You are. We have Daniel Bellinger, Thomas Fedoni,
Mhm.
and Theo Johnson. I was about to say who did I forget, but it was Theo Johnson. It's basically some people have been saying Daniel Bellinger and Greg Dulcich are like they're fighting for the last spot because they're gonna keep Fedoni, Theo, and Manhertz. So it's basically Greg and Daniel. Do they want to keep Daniel? Because I don't know what happened with Daniel and his coaching staff. Because I remember his rookie year. I know we had a slightly weaker schedule, but I remember he was the key to the offensive passing game. It was him, Tanner Hudson, and Chris Myrick. We ran literally 22 personnel all the time with them three on the field. Bellinger was the all-around tight end. Hudson was the receiving tight end. Myrick was the H-back fullback, and it worked. And then he got poked in the eye against Jacksonville. He straight up right in the eye, missed 3 weeks, and he didn't recover. And then the team just was like, you know what? I'm done with him. And I'm like, what happened here? Like, I don't understand what happened. Like, I've been trying to, I know they brought, Eddie, I know they brought in Waller, and that's perfectly fine. But you could still have allowed Bellinger to be like a full, complete tight end. I think it's Evan Neal's fault in a sense because they're like, you need to help him. We can't let him just sit there. You need to chip or flow and then do your thing. And I think that kind of like negated Daniel Bellinger's stuff. But when you got Jermaine Illuminor, you should allow Daniel to be a tight end. But you completely chose Theo Johnson. What do you think, Sal? Were you thinking the same thing? Like, what happened with this relationship where you were the starter, then you became persona non grata like that? Like what happened? Like
Yeah.
the B reporters haven't really touched upon it. No one's really because I'm like I remember you were like the guy in the room, and now you're like you may get cut.
Yeah, I mean, we got to let it go though. I mean, that
Yeah,
was 3 years ago. I mean, three
yeah,
years ago we were all pumped. He played well. They brought in Waller and they get Johnson. I mean, whatever we may think of him, they don't think that much of him, honestly,
Mhm.
because they haven't. I mean, I think they respect him as a player. He gets a lot of playing time, but I don't. He's never been a focal point of the offense. He's never actually differentiated himself as some outstanding person in the room. He's very reliable as a receiver. He catches everything he throws, but I kind of expect that out of a tight end. Like, I don't
Yep.
expect tight ends to have the drops, right?
Mhm.
He doesn't get a lot of yak, unfortunately. And that's something you want to see from your tight ends, guys who can break tackles.
Mhm.
Doesn't do
Theo
much, right?
Johnson.
Like yeah, he's a decent receiver, nothing special. He's an okay blocker, nothing special. He's just kind of a good, NFL tight end, but I don't see anything too special. The big issue with him is he has like a $3.4 million cap hit.
Yes.
It's and at this point, like, what we were thinking, meaning me and Monty and some other people talking about this, the last few weeks was maybe we just get him to take the minimum salary to the pay cut down to 1.1 million, accept the pay cut, and then you keep him. But at this point, I'll be honest, I don't
You
think
don't
he
need him.
offers more than Dulcich, and I don't think he offers more than Fedoni. Um, I mean, Johnson's making the team. He's your tight end one. That's who they want the most. Manhurst is making the team almost certainly. He was guaranteed over $570,000 this year on a veteran, contract, but still, they love the guy as a blocker. It's hard to see them cutting him. I think Fedoni is a guy they just drafted. I think they like what he offers. I see him making the team, and personally, I think Dulcich is a better player right now in terms of what he offers than
Mhm.
Bellinger. He gives you more juice as a receiver. Not a great blocker, but we do need more. Like we were just talking about, we need receivers, right? We need
Mhm.
guys who can catch the football and do something with it. Dulcich can actually do that. So I don't see the value in getting rid of Dulcich here. If we're going with four tight ends, honestly, I'm not even keeping Bellinger, even with the pay cut.
Just
I'm either
straight
trying to
from
trade him or
yeah.
just let him go.
Yeah, Sadie right here said, Kafka was the play caller his rookie year, then Dayball called the plays the following year. I think that's what happened to Bellinger. Yeah, because in Buffalo, the tight ends really didn't do much when Dayball was there. Like what did Dawson Knox do? Like I know he didn't really pan out in a sense, but yeah, I get that. Dolce was better 3 years ago. Monty said, yeah, I can say. I just think I think I probably just like fell in love with him, and I was like, I really want you to be successful, but sometimes if the Giants don't re-sign Justin Tuck, then I shouldn't be attached to anybody because Justin Tuck was my guy. And seeing him in a Raiders jersey kind of hurt my soul. And I was like, that looks ugly. That is not right. So I guess Daniel Bellinger, you're not long for this world as a New York Giant, basically.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so to Monty's point, Dulcich had 33 receptions and 55 targets for 411 yards and two touchdowns in the same year in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And that Bellinger had his big year. And Bellinger kind of had a similar year. I mean, to be honest, like it wasn't anything that much more. I mean, he had a better catch percentage. Let me
Mm-hmm.
see, I'll pull up the numbers here. He caught 30 out of 35, which is great for 268 and two touchdowns. Of course, he had the injury, but again, I mean, like that's kind of his best year as a Giant. He hasn't really done anything all that great. He
Yeah.
had another 255 yards in 2023, and he only had 125 yards on 14 catches last year. He hasn't had a touchdown since 2022. Like at some point, you're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like you're a tight end who doesn't get touchdowns, who doesn't get yards, who doesn't get receptions. You're not an outstanding blocker, and they obviously don't love you. So
Mm-hmm.
bottom line is, I think I'd move on from Bellinger.
Yeah. Because I think that was always the big problem with Kyle Pitts, right? He's like, oh my God, he had 1,000 yards. One touchdown? He had one touchdown? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's weird. That's a little
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Yep.
Before we move on to a little bit more down the line, fun fact about Thomas Fedoni, coming out of high school, he was the number one tight end in the nation.
Ahead of
Above
Brock Bowers. Yeah.
and head of yep, exactly. Of course, I couldn't get that past you, Monty. You know it. And look what Brock Bowers is. I don't know who the hell was advising Thomas Fedoni, but next time, don't go to Nebraska. It's
Well,
all
he got
right.
hurt. He had like multiple leg injuries that
No, I
really
know,
screwed up
but
his career.
but still, like, don't go to
Yeah,
Nebraska. You know what I mean? Shout out
I
to
hear
shout
you.
out to, shout out to my people. I got love for Nebraska, but y'all weren't very good when Thomas Fedoni committed. Y'all got finally good with Matt Rule. Now we'll see about it. But coming down the line, really the only offensive lineman I was kind of focused on was the right guard, and that
Mm.
was Evan Neal.
What'd you think of
Uh,
him?
he didn't have his best preseason game. The previous one and the one before, well, he didn't play in the first one. It was basically, Yeah, like last game, he had one bad play where I was like, you
Hmm.
lost that rep. But overall, you had a good game. He was struggling. He was struggling with the second stringers and the backups of the Patriots. I think on the broadcast it was 22 pass sets, 4 QB pressures he gave up. Yeah, he's still struggling, man. I think it was you and Monty where you told me he puts too much power on his front feet and he like leans and he like falls over and then just a quick little swim or like a quick little rip and you're good. And I saw that where like he would lunge and then he would try to grab and there was one time where he grabbed and he held him right and then he the player was moving to his right and sometimes when that happens offensive linemen have to release so they don't get a holding penalty because sometimes you throw the flag but other times he couldn't even grab and it just didn't look good. Are my eyes deceiving me, Sal? Because I do have
No,
a messed up eye, but it didn't look
no,
good. It didn't look good.
no. I mean, listen, Monty and I were both rooting for Evan Neal. We were advocating for him to move to guard last year, before
Yeah.
last year, because we thought, look, this guy's just not an NFL tackle, and he's a big hunkering person. Let's see what he can
Mhm.
do at guard. And if you got something, guards are making like 20 million a year. Maybe you got
Shout out
something
to
here,
Aaron.
but
Shout out to Aaron Donald. Every guard should be sending Aaron Donald a thank you note for the rest of their career because you
yeah.
know, you know
If you can stop interior pass rush, you get paid now in the NFL, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so, um, and I really was rooting for him because I think in the run game when he's going forward in general, he's an asset,
Oh
in
yes.
general, because he's
Yes.
such a big, strong dude. You can't move him when he gets his hands on you.
No.
But he is so unplayable in pass pro. Like he was awful tonight, and he's always blowing up plays. I mean, the play where Dart had to run around and make a play down the field to Olszewski, the play where he got sacked later. Those
Mm-hmm.
are all Evan Neal blowups, like he just blew up the interior pass protection, and you can't blow up interior pass protection. The play is dead. You're actually better off seeing your tackle fail controlling somebody off the edge than watching somebody come straight up the
Yep.
middle to your quarterback.
Yep.
So I kind of like I think this in my mind this experiment should be over. Now I
Mm-hmm.
think he probably makes the team, but I'm beginning to wonder why. I'm really at that point where I'm like, I don't think I want this guy on my team anymore. And we were just
Sal,
discussing
what
this in a
happened,
space.
man?
Yeah,
Like what
he's
happened? Like, because I remember coming into the draft, literally everyone, and I'm not talking like literally no one was saying he's gonna fit. Like everyone was like, there's three tackles. There's Evan Neal, Ike Kwanu, Charles Cross. Charles Cross is the
yeah.
best pass blocking tackle. Everyone said he's the best. Ekwanu, Mauler going forward, he grabs you, you're done. He's gonna kill you. Evan Neal, best overall tackle. He's 300 pounds, but it's 300 pounds of mostly muscle. And I'm like, oh, and we drafted. I was like, oh, so we got the best tackle, and it just
He
didn't
just
work.
he's just slow and off balance. He's just not a good athlete. Look, I think I'll tell you what happened. Um, we drafted an Alabama tackle. That's what happened. I mean, I think
They they,
these
they always get
Alabama
me.
yeah, I mean,
Don't draft
Alabama's
him.
philosophy for years has been just get these big, massive humans and then just bully
Mhm.
people in college, but that's not going to play at the NFL level.
No,
And I'm not falling for it anymore. I mean, not I have PTSD from this shit. I don't want any more in an Alabama O lineman. Period. Certainly not tackles. He's just not good, man. I mean, I think.
no,
Look,
no, no.
here's the
I'm
thing.
with you. I'm
My
with you,
take
man.
on that is this. I think he didn't play tonight, but it's clear to me Josh Azudu has outplayed Evan Neal, both at tackle and at guard this preseason. He's actually shown growth, and he looks pretty decent. Um, I think he should be the one who makes the roster and has a shot to be next man up at guard. Personally, Evan Neal was the seventh overall pick from Alabama with tremendous pedigree, and he's a massive human being. If you put him on the block, somebody will trade for him. But people
Hmm.
will always say, "I can fix that. Give me that guy. Give me that specimen. I'll give you a six-round pick or whatever." Right? Like you might be able to get something for him. I know that doesn't sound like much, but at this point, it's either that or just let him sit on your bench and not trust him to play or put him in games
Yeah.
and hold your breath if he comes in. I personally would just move him and take the pick at this point.
I'm
I'm serious.
scared. I'm scared we're gonna get Makai Becton,
Nah, I
where
don't care about that.
where like the Eagles get him, and then Jeff Southland does something, some
So,
voodoo
yes.
magic,
Sam,
and
look, whatever. Well, he's not going to do it here, right?
yeah,
It's not, I mean, Carmen Brasillo has proven to be a pretty good coach.
yeah,
So
yeah. We see
it's
the
not
the
happening,
Azudu,
man.
yeah, Azudu, Greg Van Roten fits, Jermaine
Marcus
Aluminor for
Bowe.
yeah,
Marcus Bowe
Marcus
looks
Bowe,
like a pro already. You know, like I'm
absolutely.
just Illuminor looks good. He coached up Illuminor in Vegas and brought him here. He
Mhm,
coached up Greg Van Roten in Vegas and brought him here. They're
mhm,
solid play. They were our best offensive lineman last year. Now you
mhm,
have Marcus Bowe, who he's coaching up. Josh Azudu looks better. Guys are all looking better under him. Even JMS looks okay. Like he wasn't great, but he looked
mhm,
okay. Evan Neal's the one guy who's sticking out as a guy who just hasn't gotten better.
mhm.
And at this point, it's on him, right? And
Yeah,
again, I do think somebody out there is going to say, I can make him the Mackay Becton. I'm actually banking on somebody thinking that I can get the next Mackay Becton in this guy.
take him.
Trade
Yeah.
him, get the pick. That's my take on Evan Neal. I'm done. Just trade him and get the pick.
People say don't scout the helmet, but guess what? You do scout the helmet with Alabama linemen. You don't take them. Like
Yeah,
Cyrus Kwanjo, Alex Leatherwood, Leatherwood or Leatherfoot. I don't know. I think it's
Leatherwood.
Leatherwood.
Yeah,
Like Evan Neal. I think the only offensive linemen from Alabama that have panned out are their two. No, they're one center and Ryan Kelly. Because I haven't seen anybody on that
I
offensive
mean,
line.
Jedrick Wills ended up being a bust for the
Oh,
most part, right? It was a
yeah,
top 10 pick. He
yeah.
was in the
Cleveland
Andrew
got rid of
Thomas
him.
draft. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they.
mean, I don't know. Whatever it is, like it's not working. But forget about all those guys.
Yeah,
Evan Neal is not going to work here. He's on his
no,
final year. He's probably not even second string at this point. Like he's
no.
barely pushing third string. I personally would just move him. If, again, I don't see the value in keeping him at this point. I
Hmm.
would just move him, get what I can. And honestly, the guy I'm excited about is Josh Azudu, of all people. Like he's actually shown something. Give him a chance to be the backup guard. And I think if somebody gets hurt, he's a guy I'd feel comfortable putting in way more than Evan Neal.
Him and Marcus Bowe. I think Marcus Bowe's gonna be the swing tackle when AT
Hmm.
comes back. Then move Illuminor back to the right side. Bowe's gonna be the first option off the bench if something happens to AT or Jermaine Illuminor. And I think that's what was. I think that was what was the plan with Marcus McCathan and Joshua Zudu. They were gonna be guards because they were both massive human beings and they had feet. But unfortunately, with Marcus towards ACL, and then it just didn't pan out. And then Joshua was still around, which means that's just fight and improvement. And you know what? That's people you want on your team who don't give up. You
And I'll
know?
be honest, I think I personally, if AT is not ready to go, I would just leave Illuminor at right tackle and put Marcus Boyd at left tackle. I would just play him there.
Okay.
I mean, he looks good out there. He played left tackle tonight. He was more than fine. I mean, this guy
Yeah.
is just a pro. He
Yeah.
really is good. So just leave him out there. But
No,
yeah,
I'm with
I'm
you.
Evan Neal wise, I'm kind of done with it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, really sad to say, because I was
Yeah.
hoping for more, but I think at some point you just got to cut your losses. If you can get something for him, just take it.
Absolutely. All right. So I think now we'll flip over to the defense. Are you still good for time? Just tell me when you need to head out.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Okay. Let's flip to the other side. I think with Abdul Carter, in the 3 games, and in this game, the sample size is I think is still a little small. So I think we see the flashes, but he wasn't really out there a lot in the Bills game. He had 6 snaps, 3 were pass rushing snaps. In this game, he was on back-to-back third downs. He wasn't on first or seconds. So it's kind of I think the sample size is a little too small to think we were gonna do anything with him. And also, I saw authentic tweet I think a couple days ago where someone brought up the NASCAR package with him and how they want him to bounce inside. And I said, I don't think it's gonna work because people underestimate like the original NASCAR package. I pointed this out. The smallest guy was 255 in OCU Manura. You had everyone else from Matthias Kiwanuka to Linval Joseph and Chris Canty, they were all 260 plus. And in Linval Joseph and Chris Canty's camps, they were both over 300 plus. This group, it's 3 men that are 250 and Dexter Lawrence at 340. And I don't think you can bounce any of the other 3 inside with him because they'll just be gobbled up by these guards. And I think you should just keep Abdul on the outside because he flashed on the outside in preseason against Deion Dawkins, against the tackles for the Patriots. Then when they bounced him inside against the Jets, the impact was kind of negated. His speed was kind of like swallowed up. Agree, disagree, expand upon that. What do you think, Sal?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that exchange of tweets, and I think you're not putting him on the interior in a four-man rush with Kayvon and Burns and just Dex unless it's something like third and long anyway. I mean, I think
Mhm.
I wouldn't I personally didn't hyperanalyze it because in preseason you're just going to try things.
Yeah.
In real
Mhm.
games, I don't think like on 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 they're doing that, right? I don't
Mhm.
that's not like it's just illogical to think they would even try that. I think more realistically, if you got a team in third and long and you know they have to pass, they're not gonna, run the ball up the middle. I'm not too worried about having him come in, but to your point, I still think the Giants would have two down linemen on the interior, even in those packages. I just think you'd have a five-man rush. And
Mhm.
I think you're going to have, let's just say Alexander and Dex in the middle, and you know, and you have Carter like kind of hovering over the middle with Kayvon and Burns on the edge. Who are you blocking? Like I don't think like to your point, like yeah, I don't think he'd be by himself out there, but I don't think that's really logical anyway. Like I know they're experimenting a little bit, but in real games, I don't think that's what it would be. I just think it would be, you're gonna just line him up in the A gap behind Dexter Lawrence, and he's gonna get a free shot. Like I think you're basically putting the interior lineman in conflict, right?
Mhm.
They have to double Dex,
Have to.
or or they have to not double Dex to try to control for Carter. And I think that is something you want coming up the A gap on a
Valid.
passing down, right? On a third
Valid.
and long. And you would have another interior lineman in there, and you're putting a lot of pressure. You're going to get to the quarterback quickly with somebody and force a quick throw. And I think you can trust to have just one middle linebacker, like as a hook defender or something out there with in a nickel package with that kind of alignment. So I'm fine with that. I don't think the scenario that was being discussed is one that's going to realistically play out, where it's
Mhm.
just the four of them on a third and short. I believe they were just trying that in preseason.
Mhm. So like it's third and four, they're bringing in Nacho or Darius, one of the Roy Robinson Harris
I think
to
so.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
When it's
I, th-
third
I
and
think
seven, then we can see it.
yeah. I think on third, I think you're in a more base type alignment on a 3rd and 5 or less, right? Or 3rd and 4 or less, where you have three down linemen on the
Mhm.
interior and you have your edge rushers and two middle linebackers, two inside linebackers to protect against any run or short pass or mesh or something. But anything more than that, you have to get more depth on the throw. And I think that's where you can play around with this a little bit more.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. I think lastly, Sal, before we head on out, running back. It's very clear. It's gonna be Scat. It's gonna be Tyrone Tracy Jr. Um, running back three is basically the battle that we saw. Devin Singletary, Turbo Miller, and Jonathan Ward. Jonathan Ward and Turbo Miller took most of the game today. We saw Cam a little bit in the beginning, then they took him out because they're like, okay, we've seen enough. We're fine. I think they keep Devin, and I think they because when I was comparing Jonathan and Turbo, Jonathan looked more dynamic, especially with the screen where he took it and ran. Like, I just felt like it felt like a hit. He looked like it was great. He was great from point A to point B. He was faster. Turbo, I didn't see a lot of shiftiness or like
Yeah.
making a man
This
miss.
the straight line runner.
Yeah, like he should have like decided to do track instead. You know what I mean? Like that's what I felt. You do you think am I going crazy? Or I think they're gonna go either they cut both Jonathan and him, or they keep Jonathan over him, and they
I
keep
think they're,
four.
yeah, I think they're keeping three running backs personally.
Okay.
And I think I do agree with you that it's going to be Tracy and Scatabo and probably Singletary. So for one thing, Singletary is a guy who has a big cap hit that you can't get out of this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of dead cap. I think it's like 5 or 6 million or something like that. I don't think they're just going to throw that away for a roster spot especially for a veteran that they like. He's
Yes.
another guy that the coaches trust and they like. And say what you want. He's a reliable veteran running back. There's nothing special about Singletary, and I'm not a huge fan, but I think he is. What if first of all, Scadbo is dealing with a hamstring,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's healthy right now, but those things have a tendency to reflare.
Yes.
What if Tracy gets hurt? Are you going to go in there with not a single reliable, proven running back? That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think Singletary makes a team. I think it's just those three. I think they're going to stash Turbo Miller on the practice squad. I'd be surprised if anybody claimed him. Ward, I'm not sure what they do with him, but I think Miller's headed for the practice squad personally.
Shout out to Devin Singletary, Hoot Hoot Owl Nation, FAU in the building. Shout out to him. I think he's gonna become like Matt Breida, where Matt Breida is like a veteran stabilization, and
Yeah.
that's what he is. If something other happens, but yeah, that's pretty much all I really had. Sal, thank you so much for joining me. Did you have anything else that popped into your mind during the game? Something that that I didn't bring up, or something that's really been in your craw that's irritating you, or something you like?
Let me just take a quick look here. No, the only thing we didn't talk about was the utilization of Scatabo, which I
Mm-hmm.
again we didn't see a lot of today,
Mm-hmm.
other than as a runner. I did mention this, and I think it's something worth watching over the course of the season. What Scatabo is really, really good at is actually being a check down receiver out of the backfield. He's a very good check down receiver. It
Yeah,
was,
I
I
saw when they
mean,
split him out that one play.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he has a little bit of a route tree, but I think his most of his production comes on those like short passes and check down situations and screens. He's really good at that stuff in college. And the reason I think that's important is because Russell Wilson, I think, is he's such a good, solid veteran. He can diagnose what a defense is giving him pre-snap. I think when the ball is snapped, he's very quick to recognize what's happening post-snap rotations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has enough insight, personal insight, to know what he can and cannot physically do anymore. And I think Wilson is a guy who's going to quickly go through his progressions and if he's got a home run, he'll try to hit it. If he's got a good completion, he'll get to it quickly. But if he scans that field and decides that the only play to make is one that he doesn't think he's physically going to try to make at his age with his current skill set, Wilson is not going to make it. Is not going to take a chance. He's going to run through those progressions quickly, decide, nope, not for me, and he's going to take the check down real quick. Like I think you're going to see a lot of that from Russell Wilson, and ultimately that'll be the. I think that's going to be the kind of thing which allows Brian Dable to turn around and say, this is good, but I need to get a dynamic younger player in there who's going to take those chances in dart. But while Wilson is playing, I think Scadaboo is a really good safety valve for him, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think he's
Yes.
like I can see him going through his progressions, especially we just talked about our receivers outside of neighbors. We're not 100% certain what we're getting out of everybody else. If he goes through this progressions and doesn't see much out there that he wants to take a shot at, he will quickly turn to Scadaboo and dump the ball off to him on a quick check down, and Scotty was really good at turning that into yards. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something to watch a lot of. It reminds me, I can foresee it being something similar. If you remember the 2018 season, Saquon's rookie year, do you remember he had like Eli was like that too at his stage in his career? I think Eli was also about 36 at that point. I mean, and I love Eli, but I mean his arm was kind of washed at that point. It
Yeah.
was maybe not
Noodle.
totally washed, but it wasn't what it was, right? And I think he recognized his like, hey, the offense was if I can get the ball to Odell, cool. If I can't get the ball to Odell and I'm looking around, I don't see anything, I'm going to dump it off to Saquon and let him do something. Saquon had something like 92 receptions that year, if
Yep.
you remember.
91, 7, 21, and 4 touchdowns.
There you go. All right. So I can see, I'm not saying he's going to put up Saquon like numbers, but I'm just saying I can see Scadaboo being a highly productive pass catcher out of the backfield. We're talking a lot more receptions than people realize, and a lot of his yardage may come that way, especially with Russell Wilson. So it's just something to watch out for.
Some teams, that's wide receiver two numbers,
Right.
2018. Shout out to my Baltimore Ravens fans. That's what your wide receiver two gets every year. So shout out to Monty. Scad Tracy are going to be fed. Absolutely. I have linking them. I'm not saying they're exact like for like, because ain't nobody like Brandon Jacobs. And Ahmad Bradshaw. But kind of in that sense, like splitting carries, whoever has the hot hand is going to ride it. So that's pretty much it. Shout out to also do Derek Ward was the third guy. But unfortunately, our third guy is Motor Singletary. So it is what it is. But Sal, hey man, thank you for joining me, bro. I
All right, brother.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me on.
Hey man, always great to hear you and Monty. Your guys' podcast. He's a giant podcast. Tremendous. You guys had a show yesterday. Just tell my supporters where they can find you, where else you can do. I saw you were in spaces earlier. Anything else you want to tell the people?
Yeah. So you can always reach me on my Twitter. It's at Queens underscore guy. Monty is at MONTECRI5TO. And we have a he's a giant Twitter handle at he's a giant pod. We do our shows. You can just look it up. He's a giant. You can find it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everything. But we usually go live either Wednesday or Thursday night, depending on if there's a game.
Mhm,
We did so typically we'll try to do Wednesday night to avoid the Thursday night game. So we are going to have an episode next week, right around roster cut down time.
mhm,
And we'll typically do. Wednesdays. Our pod, for those who don't know, is mostly focused on college football throughout the season. We do a lot of college football prospect ranking reviews by position group, and we go through them as through the course of the football season. So while everybody else is just kind of analyzing and hyper analyzing the NFL game, we're kind of doing the breakdown of the emerging prospects, the top five guys usually per position group as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. We try to finish that by the end of the season, and then we circle back and revamp the list and add
Mhm.
players and do a lot of analysis as we head into draft season. By the end of it, Monty and I usually have like this. Like last year, we kept really detailed notes. We have like hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes on prospects, and we can refer back to them. So we try to give you guys info on these college kids as they're coming up, and it's fun because when the season starts, we revert back. We kind of refer back to our notes and to our own episodes and see, hey, were we right about this, and what
Mhm.
did we say about this guy? And I think it just helps us understand some of these younger players out there.
Mhm. Prediction for college football and the NFL draft: don't
All
draft
right.
Aiden Proctor. That's all I gotta say. Don't draft him.
Exactly.
Don't draft him. Parker Brailsford, their center. Yes, because he's actually a Washington Huskies prospect. He followed the coach. But Caden Proctor, no,
No
don't do that.
Caden Proctor. Stay away from him.
Or the two twins that are now guards and those two guys. No, don't even look
Just
at
don't
them.
just if they
Just
have a if it
don't even.
says Alabama O
Yeah,
line,
no,
just don't touch
no.
it. Leave it alone.
Yeah. If it says
Let
Alabama O line and he was there for all 4 years, don't touch him.
I'll
But
be honest,
Parker,
the only one I can think of that's really, really good recently is probably Landon Dickerson. And of course he had to go to the
I think that's
Eagles.
the only one. That's the only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's literally the only one. And I hate him. I hate all of them.
Of course he went to the
Yeah,
Eagles. Yeah.
of course. Of course, the Eagles found the one good Alabama offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And you know what, Howie? I hate you. All right, so I gotta say, I don't like you. I'm not a big fan. But you torture me, so it is what it is. But Sal, thank you so much for joining us, guys. My name is Fares Muthana. You can find me at Fares Muthana on Twitter. You can find me here every Friday, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Good friends, better rivals with my co-host Caleb. We talk NFC East, Giants, and Cowboys. I have been laughing at the Cowboys for this past month because every single week they do something stupid. Like their owner decided to insult their star player for no reason. For no reason. And I thoroughly enjoy their pain and suffering. And then we're also gonna start doing post-game shows after every because the Cowboys are better than us record-wise, and so they get 1 o'clock games and they get primetime games. We gotta get solved the 10 a.m.s. We're gonna do the post-game shows after both games have concluded, usually Sundays or Thursdays or whatever they are. And then I'm also gonna do play-by-play for every Giants game this entire season. That's my project for this year. I missed a couple of games last year, but this year I'm going to do play-by-play for all of them. So, watch me either be happy or cry or yell Bryce Ford Wheaton for no apparent reason when he gave us that block. So shout out to Bryce. I hope you rest up. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for Sal. Shout out to Monty. I'm gonna get you guys on both together where we can talk more because I really enjoy your podcast. It's very informational. Sometimes I miss stuff. But you guys really keep me up to date, and I really appreciate the work you do. Y'all some good guys. Just good guys.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.